Samurai sword on my back. You don't know how to act. Maybe you should relax. Maybe you should relapse. Just kidding.
No fashion is complete without the creators. Today, designers are being followed like icons for their sense of style, design, and most importantly, their collections. Our guest today has designed for the Textiles Fair of India last year. She is mostly an ethnic and fusion wear designer who's worked in the retail and e-com for the past 6 years, mostly Myntra, Above and Lifestyle. She is also a graduate from NIFT and an alumni from IIM. Hello Aishu.
Hi, how are you doing?
Very good. How are you?
I'm great.
As a designer, creativity is always your thing. So how does it feel to be in a setting like this where you're talking about your creativity and design collections?
I think this is quite overwhelming because we are generally creating stuff or doing something, and to come out and talk about it is kind of exciting as well.
Thank you so much for accepting the invitation to be here.
Thank
This
you.
is Glam Talk with me, Nagashri Ramamurthy. So Aishu, you have almost 20,000 followers on Instagram. How does that feel? 20,000 is a large number.
Yes, I think that's a hard work of almost 5 to 6 years of blogging. It doesn't come overnight, right?
Definitely. She, apart from being a designer, is also a blogger and influencer and has also taken to YouTube recently. So we'll talk about that. So how has the Instagram journey been for you?
I think initially I started it off as a hobby where I could just talk about trends and fashion, whatever I'm working about, and making new designs, what is going on in the world of fashion. And then slowly it turned out that I wanted to wear the clothes that I see everywhere, and I
Right.
started taking pictures and documenting.
Got it. Got it. So that's how it started. Instagram also began because of your collections itself.
Yes.
Right? So you said you graduated from NIFT in 2014,
Yes.
if I'm not wrong, right? So how has the NIFT journey been?
I think it was the most exciting time of my life because I'm born and brought up in Bangalore.
Okay.
And we're all from this basic middle class family,
Right.
and you're all like, oh, let's not go into fashion. And parents are always like, oh, fashion, no, that's not for us. But then I think it was the most memorable thing, and I'm really happy that I got into NIFT.
Got it. So NIFT, when you said you graduated from NIFT, and that is completely about design and your creativity is completely taken to task, right?
Yes.
Your teachers. So how has the NIFT teaching, been for you, and how do you, go back on it?
I think to tell about that, I think the teaching methodology is amazing because it's not just reading and writing an exam.
Right. True.
What we are taught is, for example, if you see the dress I'm wearing or if you see the print, we manually sketch it on the computer.
Right.
We make a lot of mistakes, redo it.
Got it.
This is our process. It's not just writing something in an exam paper.
Okay.
So everything is practical. I think that was what made it very interesting.
Wonderful. I think creativity doesn't just come overnight also until people are really wanting to, do something in that line. I don't think they'll go and study for it for what, 3 years, 5 years?
4 years. It's a graduation
4 years.
course.
Graduation. Sorry. So, NIFT fashion designing course for 4 years and lots of hard work. How much of cuttings have you done in your entire NIFT journey?
Don't even ask us. I think me and my fellow Niftians, we have had sleepless nights getting the best cut or the best final project. It's quite exhilarating.
Okay.
Every day is.
And when you went to a different state or a city to showcase your collections, so have you been to a different city from college?
Yes, we did. We used
Okay.
to go for inter-college fests.
Okay.
Yes.
So any memory that you can share with us, one of the best memories that you can share with us when you were in NIFT?
Yes, I think one of the best ones was, so I was a basketball player.
Oh,
and
that I didn't know. Sorry. Yeah.
So, and it was basically 4 guys and 1 girl in a
Okay.
team.
Okay.
And we would go to intercity, and I think we went to Kolkata for one of our Converge fests.
Okay.
And it was like so nice. In college, you're going in a train, and your whole college is going along with you in a different city. You're just exploring the city. It was wonderful.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm sure college is a memory that nobody can just erase off, or they can always keep reviving it and just thinking about it, and they're just like feeling so good about it, you know. So that being from a design college where you get to, you know, meet models, meet designers, meet all the big names from the industry, I think that also must have been a great experience, isn't it?
Yes, totally. It was.
So any names that you can, you know, or any people that you could work with at that time, somebody who had done great in the industry of fashion, or maybe events, or anybody, any teacher that you know you remember and say, you know, that person changed my perspective on fashion, on people, or, you know, my industry in particular.
To be very frank with you, I think when I worked in ABOF, we had a head designer.
Okay.
Her name was Vicky Bamra.
Okay.
And I think she was the one person who literally taught us how to not take stress and make sure the creativity comes out to its fullest. Potential.
Right.
So most of the time we do have a lot of deadlines.
Correct.
And you have deadlines and you have to come up with your best creativity. That doesn't go well together, right?
Right.
So you can't just tell your brain, hey, be creative within 10 minutes. That doesn't work.
True.
So I think that was what I learned from her.
Got
to
it.
Just be calm.
Right. So also they tell this one line where creativity, you know, never meets deadlines.
Yes.
So do you agree with it?
100%.
Okay.
100%. You can't just tell me, you know, give me something in an hour. What if nothing comes up in an hour? It might come at the, 60th minute. Then when are you going to start doing it?
Right. All right. So when you have to work on something, and if you have to meet a deadline, then how soon would you start, or how do you, give yourself that creative push so that you will actually give the creative product by the end of that deadline,
So what I start doing is when I actually get a project, or we have to work on a collection or something like that, what we do is we start looking at multiple inspirations.
Right.
Maybe movies, songs, go out into the market,
Right.
do window shopping.
Got it.
Something somewhere will click.
Okay.
Maybe something like a black bead on your
mine?
neck piece.
Yes.
Might just inspire something like a big collection, right?
Right.
So
right.
that's how it works.
Okay. So for you, apart from being a designer, I know she's also a painter,
Oh,
isn't it?
yeah. I
Yes.
used to do that when I was in school and college.
Okay.
So actually, to be frank, I had got into Chitrakala Parishad.
Oh.
But then we decided NIFT was a national institute and we went ahead with it.
Right. But even now, when you step into her home, you actually see some beautiful work that's done by her. So I'll also credit her for that. Beautiful work.
That's very
So if anybody is looking for any artwork, you can also contact her for that.
Thank you so much. I'm very humbled.
So also when it comes for designers, creativity is something that you need it, day in, day out. So how do you keep at it? One thing is meeting the deadlines, a specific time. But how would you, be creative, for a longer time, because that's your industry, and how would you get that?
So I think doing multiple things, one day I'm designing a dress, another day maybe I'm doing a photo shoot for my Instagram.
Okay.
Another day I might just be painting my pot
Okay.
for my garden.
Okay.
So every day is a new project for me.
Right.
So that kind of brings out something new in
New.
me every day.
Got it. So for people who've been trying to do new things in life, you can always tag yourself that I'm creative. I'm sure it's going to be a task every day doing things in a new way or in a new perspective. That's not going to happen
And I think creative people get bored instantly.
like that. Yes.
So that's not an easy thing to ignore, because
True.
something might just become very boring in a matter of weeks.
True.
You need to keep up with it if you have deadlines.
Right. Agreed, agreed. Now, when we talk about designs, designing is one thing when you have a boutique and you have a brand of your own, which she has. Her brand is called Artap, which she showcased at the Textiles Fairs of India last year. Coming back to the brand sector, so when you have to design for a particular client, or if you have designed for a particular event or something like that, then how would you start working on that?
So, if it's a client or an event, for example, let me take an example that I would be designing for you, maybe for the show.
Okay.
So, first of all, I'm going to ask you
Okay.
what all are your likes and dislikes. Plus, I'm also going to look at your personality and how do you go about, everything. Because at the end of the day, you are my client, it
True.
matters.
True.
Right? And maybe I'm going to show across a huge range of things, colors, patterns, and
Right,
everything,
right.
and ask you what would you like.
Okay.
And maybe even ask you which is your most favorite hero, heroine, what do you get inspired from, right? Or maybe even places, you
Right.
never know.
Right.
So then going on, we start off with mood board, color boards,
Okay.
patterns,
Right.
fabrics.
All right, it
And
goes
on.
like that.
Yeah.
And when a designer works with her set of, tailors or the, actual backbone of the designers, how would you comment on that part? Like, how would you pick your team?
So, to be very frank, if they are not there, I don't exist.
True.
Literally.
I agree.
Literally everything is taken care by them.
Them.
Whatever I create in my head or sketch it out, they are the ones who make it or magically bring it out, literally.
True. True.
So, you need to have the best connection with your tailor and master or your embroidery person. You are happy, they are happy, they are happy, you are happy.
Any brand that comes up with a collection will have to name it. And her brand, to be honest, is called Earth Up. And I'm really curious and to why did she come up with that name called Earth Up? A design collection, creativity, fabrics, Earth Up. I think I'm going to ask her.
So, this is gonna be a little longer story if you don't mind me.
Sure.
The whole thing, what I'm going to tell you, is gonna be shocking.
Okay.
Because I've been working in this industry for over 6 years
Okay.
and studied over it for over 4 years. Right?
Got it.
You all must be going to malls and buying from different brands.
Correct.
Fast fashion, that
Obviously.
and this.
Obviously.
Right?
Yeah.
One dress of yours literally takes 8 to 6 samples to make. Why is that? That is because whether, sometimes there'll be a neck problem
Okay.
or some sleeve problem or
Right.
a print
Right.
problem.
Sure.
Right?
Huh.
So all of those 6 to 8 samples is just going to go to the bin.
Okay.
Right?
Literally.
Yeah. So that means we are making around hundreds of new designs every single month.
Okay.
100 into 8.
Okay. That
Eight.
many number of waste.
Yes.
So basically, it's all about the waste that is generated in our industry, or to be particular in the fashion industry, is
Yeah.
humongous, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And who is talking about this? Or who is concerned about the waste that we are actually producing?
Right.
And the whole industry is moving so fast. There are new brands every single day that come.
True. So many brands.
And being a woman, I'm spoiled for choices. That is there, right?
Right. Right.
So, but who is being conscious? And I think it's time we all move towards sustainability and
Right.
also moving towards thinking about the earth, because we have
Agreed.
already, used up a lot of resources on
Yeah.
earth, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's when I thought, like, I had a lot of names and, I don't know, it didn't feel, I didn't want to feel fashionable or something like that. It felt like it has to be stylish, but yet, go for a cause. It had to touch somebody's heart and
Right.
all together save the earth.
Agreed. So when you talk about sustainability today, I think everybody is talking about sustainability. Be it our industry of fashion or even an environmentalist is always talking about sustainability. And for somebody who has been in the industry, seen so much of work going, and then come up with a brand name called Earthup, I think kudos to you, congratulations, because that name in itself has a feel that you actually want to go and understand what the brand is all about, and also see why is the earth associated with this brand, or is it the fabrics, is it the designs, or is it the prints, to be very honest, right? So a lot of factors involved when you talk about an outfit. As she said, the samples is one thing, but another thing is how do you pick your end product that goes out into the market. So how would she pick her end product?
So basically, we need to start off with the starting point, right? It's not just about the end product.
Right.
In my previous collection, whatever I had showcased, I used my grandma's 9-yard saris
Okay.
to make a lot of, gowns and tops.
Okay.
Use them as trims and even buttons and some of my neck pieces or even chappals, I made them out of old reused fabric.
Right.
So, at least if not the whole product, some way or the other, we are bringing these old unused cloth which is just going into the trash.
Got it. Got it.
So the whole sustainability level is
Right.
coming one
Step higher.
Step
One
higher.
step higher. True.
Yes.
True.
So that is how each of my product is very unique.
Okay.
And you also have a sense of, today I created a little less waste.
Right, right. So it's very satisfying by the end of the day that I have not actually wasted or harmed anything. I've actually saved them, I've actually reused them, and I've also made sure that my part for the nature is done. Be it normal people or designers, or even me for that matter, we all agree the fact that we have so many choices to make. Be it the brands or the collections or the fabric that we fall in love with. And given the fact that there are so many also new things coming into the market, the uniqueness of each brand is very, very different. So let's know how she as a designer would pick her brand.
There are like multiple sustainable brands in India.
Okay.
Some of my favorites are, it's called Doodlage.
Okay.
Then there is 1111.
Okay.
There is also Kasha.
Okay.
So all of these brands in their own way are doing a lot of sustainable design.
Right.
Whether it is in the weaving, whether it's in the printing, or whether it's how they are making their own fabric. So all of these brands, they are taking a step towards sustainability.
Right.
And helping the fashion industry move away from fast fashion.
Got it, got it. So for Aishwarya Iyengar, the designer, all that matters, be it any brand, is the sustainability. Now, any designer has another platform to showcase her design collections, which is a live ramp event, which is a fashion show. And now that she's worked with Prasad Bidappa in her last year's showcase, which was a Textiles Fair of India, I really want to understand how does it be for a designer while her designs are going on the ramp.
So I think you can already see it was very, very, very exciting.
She's going all pink right now, huh? Notice that.
It was extremely exciting. The thing is, once when you see your garment come out of that machine, right? And you wear it or you make somebody wear it,
Right.
that is a different feel.
Okay.
But when somebody wears it on a ramp and all of the 10 to 15 clothing walks on a ramp, it just gives you goosebumps.
Okay.
It feels amazing. You just feel on top of the world.
Got it, got it. And I'm sure any designer, when she's showcasing her collections at the event, right, there's so much of nervousness that goes behind it, because it's a live, living people, live mannequins walk in your outfits on the ramp. If there's any tripping happening, somebody falls down, or the outfit is a little torn. So how would you deal with that kind of,
I think first of all, it is anyhow very chaotic.
Okay.
You have to keep calm first thing.
Okay.
Plus, if there is any malfunction, just laugh it off and go away. Because otherwise, if you give more attention to it, you seek more attention to the unwanted things.
Right.
So if something
Agreed.
is torn, just instantly put a pin or just
Got
sew it
it.
up.
Got it.
So just laugh it off, yeah.
Just laugh it off. Wow, coming from a designer, I think that is one quality that even we as normal people should carry around. And because backstage, be it a show, shoot, or even a big fashion house, like, or the e-com places as well, they have so much of things happening. Like, a lot of people are involved in multiple segments, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So then you have to also make sure that they are also they're also comfortable, and at the same time your work is also done. Then how would you make sure that all these cadre of people are satisfied and you also get your work done?
So basically, just figure out, for example, if it's a model or if it's tailor or backstage things and your interns or anybody, just make sure you have briefed them first, and also make sure they're having a good day first of all.
Okay.
At the end of the day, we all are human beings.
Right.
You never know what somebody is going
through.
So it's always good to be a little more empathetic.
Right.
And if somebody is a little snappy, or if something is not going right, just ask, hey, can I help you with something?
Okay.
And figure out what the other person is
needs.
going through or needs something, and help them. It's okay to help anybody and everybody, right?
Got it. Agreed. Now, any designer having her collections showcased, maybe it her boutique or to her clients or on her social media, that's a different story. Now, when a designer turns influencer on Instagram with 20,000 followers, I think that is a huge benchmark that is already reached. Now, being a designer, it's more easy for her to understand her Instagram page, or how beautiful it should look, or what are the color codes or color themes should I want in my Instagram page. So let's talk about that.
So yeah, both of this was very separate for me initially.
Okay.
But then slowly, being a designer, I felt very, like it has to be perfect. I can't put black next to a red, or I can't put black next to a pink or something like that.
Right.
So I always felt that the whole feed should look very, thematic and go nicely. When you scroll it up, you just should feel really nice. That's what I always felt, and I'm trying to maintain that.
Okay.
And it actually catches a lot of eyeballs.
True, it
Somebody
does.
coming to your profile, and when they scroll and they feel like scrolling it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So that gives a lot of excitement again to create something more every day.
So if you want to follow her and understand how good feeling it is just to go through the profile and the color themes that she's put across, you should follow her on I am Aishwarya Iyengar. Go to Instagram and Google it, and I'd like for you to say it from your own mouth. Tell me the entire username.
So it is iam.aishwarya.iyengar.
So that is her Insta handle. Do go follow her and make sure that you understand the designer's perspective on Insta. For a designer who's worked in so many different cadres, and I have also worked with her in the past, and what we see is, as she said, there's a lot of chaos definitely running around. Now, how as a designer who has to make sure her team is in the right space, her models are in the right space, and her back-end team is also in the right space, so how would you maintain your calm while you are working with an entire bunch of people?
So I'm also a human being. It's not like I won't get irked or I won't get stressed or something like that. It's just that let people do their own thing, because each of them who you have recruited or your team members are the best in their own field.
Correct.
So I think it's very important to allow them to explore their full potential.
Okay.
That is when you would not micromanage and you would not feel, hey, somebody is doing wrong, which will in turn make you feel stressed and you will feel like, oh, this is not going my way. Let it go everybody's way. And finally, the result will be amazing.
Definitely. I'm sure all the people who are working in an industry like this will get this in their heads and make sure that they are also maintaining their cool.
Yeah.
Now, coming back to Instagram or any outfits that you're getting shot, the photographer's view and perspective is very important. Now, for Instagram, I'm sure not all the pictures are self-shot, or we don't set our camera all the time and then shoot. So how would you, work with a photographer for your pictures?
So, I work with a lot of photographers. It's not just one or two. And what we do is when I approach a photographer or we mutually approach each other for a shoot, what we do previously is decide on a theme and on a location and how is the lighting and what should be our outcome, whether we
Right.
want 10 amazing pictures
Right.
or 100 okay pictures,
Right.
right? And also sometimes you would need a makeup artist.
Definitely.
Yeah, because every time just doing your own makeup doesn't give out a new look,
True.
right? So makeup artists also bring in a lot of effort, plus the whole look of the photo shoot completely changes in a bag.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think we discuss all of this and then proceed on a particular date and go ahead and it's not like whatever we had discussed will exactly go
On the
that
day.
right?
Yes. That is also there.
It
Not
can
everything goes.
completely be different.
Yes.
But just go with the flow because I'm sure the results will always be amazing than the one you had thought you wanted.
Thought of. Yes. So that is also very true. And coming back, be it a designer or somebody who is working in our fashion industry, for us something that we always strive for is the looks, the entire outlook. What looks is what sells. So for the designer, when I say that, what just hits your mind? Like, do you look at the outfit or the model or the person or the brand? So what do you think is your selling factor?
So as a person first, then a designer next.
Okay.
I don't look at the person. I look at the clothing
Right.
and the color for me.
Right.
Because colors are something that kind of immediately holding.
Catches you. Yeah.
Yeah. Whether it's not like I like only dark colors
Right.
or I like only pastels. I like both of them equally. I can't
Right.
choose.
Right.
Today I'm a black person and tomorrow
It's a
I would
different
just
color.
want to wear white. So it's just how you use colors on each person.
Right.
So that's what attracts me and how they have accessorized it. Whether it's just a earring or a lot of people can manage to do earrings, neck piece,
Right.
ring, bangles, everything together, yet it'll look amazing.
Agreed.
So I think it just the overall look matters finally. Yeah.
Got it. Now coming back, when I talk about Aishu as a designer, then that's one side of it. Now that she's recently been married and now that she's moved out of the parents' home, now she's all independent women living with her husband, right? So how does it come for a designer? As she said, in this industry not everybody is very relatable. Always there is a pull that comes from the family. Why that industry? Why not something else? So let's ask how her family has taken and supported her through this and how her husband supported her.
So yes, I think my parents were initially a little off about going into the fashion industry, but slowly when I got into NIFT, I think it felt like a great thing because obviously it's a national school, right?
Right.
Who would say no, it's on par with IIMs.
Correct.
Right? And slowly that's how my journey started.
Got it.
And my then boyfriend and now husband has always been supportive of me and even today. To be very frank with you, a lot of times he is my photographer. I I just come up with a crazy idea and I'll say, hey, do you have like 2 hours today? Can I just get dressed up?
Huh.
He's like, sure, let's just shoot.
Yeah.
And imagine he leaves his work in between and he shoots for me.
Okay.
That's like a boon for me.
Definitely.
Whether I'm a designer or an influencer.
Right.
Right? A person who can actually help you creatively
Agreed.
feels like a soulmate.
Now that we have known a designer inside out, be it her designs or her family or her husband, I really like to know what would be her last words, for the viewers who have been watching this, and also as a designer, what would she would want to share to her, clients?
First of all, thank you so much for having me over here and
My pleasure.
talking
My
about
absolute
all
pleasure.
of this. It means a lot. I just want to tell all of you all that it is our duty to move and help this earth and move towards sustainable fashion, because you can always see beauty in everything around you.
True.
Thank you so much.
Thanks to Aishu for making time to come here and talk to us about sustainability, and mostly coming from a creative person. I'm sure that all of us think our industry is something that, there's a lot of, baggage or wastage that we leave behind, be it our shows, shoots, and even fabric for that matter. Now that she's touched upon sustainability, I urge all of us to make sure that whatever we use on a daily basis, we reuse, we recycle, and become sustainable. Now, I'd like to thank all the people who were part of this shoot, and coming back, I'd like to say I will meet you next time with another guest from the same industry and know what they have to say about the industry and how their experiences has been. This is The Glam Talk with me, Nageshri Ramamurthy.